Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. I thought this tweet started a pretty interesting discussion. It goes, hot take, if you work in the video games industry today, I see that about as bad as working in the cigarette industry in the 1960s and 70s, destroying people's lives and families is just not yet commonly understood. While we're being honest, I've developed a few tumors playing World of Warcraft over the years, but in all seriousness, the main difference is the cigarette industry gave people cancer and video games did not. The issue with video games is when it evolves into an addiction. Just like any other addiction, it takes over people's lives and becomes their focus to an unhealthy degree. But the thing about video games is there's nothing inherently unique about video games other than their popularity. The popularity of video games is the issue. I mean, pretty much virtually every single person under the age of 30 or maybe even 40 has played video games at some point in their life. That popularity has led to a lot of people developing a video game addiction, which is a very real thing, but there's nothing intrinsically terrible about video games. And in terms of regulations, like being regulated like drugs and banned for minors, is a step way too far. The only sort of real regulation video games should have is parental guidance. Like if you allow your child, this is where the addiction most of the time starts, is when they're a child, because the parent either enables this behavior or just doesn't do anything to help it. They plop their kid in front of their console, they let them play it all day, and they really just kind of ignore the problem, and that's on the parents. The parents have to instill the discipline on the kids to not let a video game take over their social life, their school life, work life, whatever. And honestly, if you really want to get into it, there's plenty of studies that show that video games help the cognitive development of children. And, if we're thinking about places that have banned video games for minors, the only one that comes to mind is China. So you already know you're going down a pretty dark path if you're trying to regulate that for children. But nonetheless, I don't think this is like the craziest hot take ever. I think it's a few decades late. But the issue is, it's just too wild of a comparison. And really, I'm not trying to dig in too much here, but the person who made this is into crypto. You could apply these same exact things to crypto, and it's probably a lot more relevant than it is applied to video games, because there's been a lot more lives destroyed in the last couple of years as crypto has boomed than the decades of video games being out there. I don't think that's a very controversial thing to say. And one final thought as we go out the door here, I just wanted to mention this. I think there's definitely something different if we want to get into the concept of gacha, where money and gambling's getting involved into certain video games. I think that's a whole nother discussion. I think that is something that needs to be regulated and something that simulates real gambling, except for there's a lot less restrictions on it and less state regulation. But that's a topic for another day. But again, I want to know your guys' thoughts about all of this. I think it's a pretty open-ended discussion. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.